So it's always going to be there. We're not going to get rid of the head. It's inherently trying to support us. It's just not very effective in a modern setting. And so it's always going to be there. We just have to feed the heart. We need to feed it because the head's so powerful. The head is so powerful. It's so all-consuming. And we're so triggered into it. We're so triggered into a stress response because the whole modern life presupposes and is normalized biting off more than you can chew for your own body's energy. Just living a normal life. People barely get grounded. If you work to a 9 to 5, the only way you can get grounded is by going to a park, taking your shoes off and putting your feet on the ground. 10,000 years ago, living in the wild, it was impossible not to be grounded. There was nowhere that was synthetic. Everything was grounding. What, you're in a rock? That's grounding. You're in a tree? That's grounding. You're on the earth? That's grounding. You're on the grass? That's grounding. You're in the water? That's grounding. The only way you can not be grounded 10,000 years ago is by jumping in the air. So people were inherently so much more revitalized and connected just inherently as living on the earth. If you look in a modern context, it's so difficult. We have synthetic light, right? We have synthetic light that shuts off the melatonin release and has us not get tired at night. And then we're exhausted and wake up with an alarm clock every morning and our body's already exhausted. Then it has to go be in a synthetic environment to work in the 9 to 5. That's not fulfilling. Way overworking, working under fluorescent lighting, and then getting exhausted and repeating the cycle and building this energetic debt, which is why we have a cancer epidemic, why we have so many health conditions in the world, because it's just unsustainable. And so the head is constantly, because our body's not even regulated and healthy enough to not be constantly going into a stress response, constantly in hypervigilance, constantly in fear consciousness. So it's an uphill battle, but we need to work against that if we want to be fulfilled. And doing a heart map, which is what the action step from this podcast is, will give you a way to combat that. It's not going to be the whole solution, but if you want to find inspiration, it's the answer. If you get pulled back into your head afterwards because you're living in a lifestyle that's not healthy enough to keep you in your heart, even if you do the heart map, but your capacity is very limited because you're not as healthy as you could be, you're going to get pulled straight back into fear consciousness very quickly. So the real answer here is being inspired through being connected to your heart regularly, so you find naturally and organically the pull to serve and the pull to grow because you just love that because you're feeling full. And it's like, now I'm in a place of fullness. Now I'm in a place to change. What's the challenge? What's next? I'm excited to grow. I'm excited to create. But in the short term, to shift from motivation to inspiration, excuse me, a heart map is the answer. Wow, that's a lot of talking. I've got a bit of a channeled motor mouth or flow mouth going on here. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to bring this to a close. Wholesome, feeling full and content is beautiful. When you get there, the process to transition from motivation to inspiration is to unlearn the feeling, the memory in the body of what motivation feels like. That's not what you're going to do moving forward. If you've connected to spirit, if you've connected to a sense of self-love and wholeness in who you are, you're going to have to unlearn motivation. You're going to have to learn inspiration. How can you do that? A heart map. Within whatever it is you're looking for some pull to action in, write down a column of head attachments, another column of heart desires, and connect to what's wholesome and true and what you really are inspired to act from. What are your heart's truest desires here? If you tap into that, it will pull you to act. You have to feed it. You have to train yourself and wire yourself to move from love. Yeah. be kind to yourself with this. It's a whole new process. It's taken me 5+ years, and I'm only starting to build momentum with inspiration. Yeah. I spent 5 years wrestling back and forth between motivation and contentment. So yeah,